Now today is New Year's Eve, it's the 31st of December, and I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to review my golf performance over the last year. Now I'm using my shot scope performance data that I've been tracking using the V5 Golf Watch over the last 12 months, and I'm going to share with you what I get access to in terms of a dashboard, and I'm going to share with you my statistics, which I should warn you are not so pretty, but it's a really good way to look ahead to the next year and plan where my game needs to improve based on the data that I have captured. Now, if you aren't a ShotScope user but you're interested in the kind of data I'm going to show you in this video, and perhaps getting access to this yourself, there's an exclusive 15% discount code which I'll pop in the description below, as well as my affiliate link. So if you want to benefit from 15% off at checkout, feel free to use that code. Also, if you have any questions about any ShotScope products or anything I cover in this video, drop them in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And whilst you're there, feel free to hit that like button and subscribe, because I've got plenty of other ShotScope videos, reviews and tutorials on this channel and on my golf blog, andysgolfblog.co.uk. Anyway, on the homepage here of the ShotScope dashboard, we can see some details about my last round, which was actually quite a good round, but I'm interested in seeing my 2024 as a whole. So I'm going to click on rounds, and then you'll see here we have the time frame set for 2024, and we're comparing against a 5 handicapper. So because I'm a 7 handicap, I like to compare with a slightly better handicap group. We could go for a scratch golfer, but I'm not really playing enough to get down to this just yet, so I'm happy to compare against a slightly better golfer in a 5 handicap. Down the left hand side here, some of these rounds are partially completed rounds or rounds on our small 9-hole course, so I don't include those in my performance statistics. I just make sure I omit them using the no statistics button. So everything that's included in the stats I'm going to show you today is based on my rounds on 18-hole or larger golf courses. Now on the right hand side here, we can see my scoring statistics, and I like this view. It just gives me a nice way of seeing all of my performance for the last year. So you'll see here we can see round, season and the previous year, and then we can see strokes gained for the round, season and the last year. So I'm going to pay attention here to season. So my overall performance for my 18 holes was 10.3 over par compared to last year on 8.5. So unfortunately, this year my scoring hasn't been as good as it was last year. I can see for the season that I lost 0.63 strokes against a 5 handicapper overall, compared to last year when I actually gained some strokes. We can also see a breakdown of front 9 and back 9. So generally speaking, my season here has been worse on the back 9 compared to the front 9, which was also the case last year. So generally I probably maybe lose energy in the back 9, or just don't tend to play the back 9 at golf courses quite as well as I would like to, or as well as I get off to a good start in the front 9. So that's a potential area to focus my efforts. I can also see here from my par 3 performance was better this year than it was last year, but my par 4s were worse than last year, and par 5 performance was the same. In terms of where I'm gaining or losing strokes, I can see here that I gained some strokes in the par 3, lost a lot on the par 4s, and gained ever so slightly here compared to last season on the par 5s. So really, most golf courses have a majority of holes being par 4s. This is somewhere where unfortunately, I'm losing strokes. If we scroll down, we get a nice view here of strokes gained for the season. And again, this is comparing against the 5 handicapper. So this season, I have gained off of the tee ever so slightly, a very, very small gain, but it's a gain nonetheless. But I've been losing a lot of strokes here off my approach play. So minus 1.3 in terms of approach play. Short game, gaining here against a 5 handicapper, so that's the area that I know I'm quite comfortable in around the greens, and putting a slight loss here. If we jump to 2023, last season I lost in every category apart from short game, where I gained 2.15 strokes. This season I've gained in tee shots and short game, but not as many strokes. So my short game hasn't been quite as good as it was last year, and we can see approach play was considerably better last year by almost a stroke compared to this season. So for me, there needs to be a big improvement in approach play and in putting next season, and maybe do a little bit more work in terms of short game to get it back to where it was previously. Here we can see my driving distance. So my driving distance for the season was 229 yards compared to 222 yards last year. That's my average. That's not my performance average. So that's my complete average, taking into account any very, very, very short or very long drives or tee shots. When it comes to my performance statistics, I always like to go by performance average, which takes out any outliers. So this may seem quite low, but generally my performance average will be quite a bit higher, and it's closer to an average of 260 off the tee. But anyway, there's a gain there from last season. In terms of fairways and regulations, lost a percent this season compared to last season, but 46 still not too bad. Where I really struggle every year is my greens and regulations. So last year I was 42%, this year 33%, so quite a big drop there, and again that's tied into this strokes gained or strokes lost in terms of approach, and that's where I need to work on. This season I was slightly worse in terms of up or downs, but only by 2%, 45% still pretty good. And putts per round, I felt like my putting was maybe not so good this year, but actually it was an improvement on last year. Now we can then delve even deeper into all of these performance statistics. I'll do this very, very quickly for the purpose of this video. But if we go into performance, if I look at my tee shots here, then I can start looking at this year and I can see where I did well. So let's say we can change to the driver here. 45% accuracy with the driver this year, 20% left, 31% right, 2% resulting in penalties. If I change it to last year, you can see 4% were penalties and 46% last year compared to 47 this year. So a little bit more accurate with my driver off the tee this year. You'll see we can go and have a look at the different driver lengths, performance average and whatnot. I can change it to approach play here, and we can look at my approach play for 50 yards up to 200 yards this season was 41%, 31% short, compared to 45% last year, 27% short. But where I feel I'm losing a lot of strokes and a lot of accuracy is from around about 150 to 200. So you'll see here 23% greens hit from 150. Even if we're looking at 125 to 175 yards, it's only 39%. So from this distance I should be hitting more greens, and I'm coming up short 26% of the time. So that's definitely an area we need to improve, and I should try to maybe take an extra club and get a little bit longer here with my approach play and hopefully find more greens. Short game, as I said earlier, short game fairly comfortable with. Last year 47%, this year 45%, slight drop, but 45% still pretty good. I can see though my sand save percentage is only 20% this year and losing against a 5 handicapper, so that's a potential area that I should work on. And I never practice my bunker play, but the shot scope data is telling me that maybe we could benefit from working on my sand saves. And then if we look at putting, we can see my average was slightly better than a 5 handicapper here at 29.6. If we compare to last year, 30 last year, so a very slight gain. Where I did make a gain though was average holes per 3 putt 22.1, this year 24.8, so it's going a lot longer without those 3 putts. And then we can look at my percentage of putts. So 59% were 2 putts, 4% 3 putts, 37% 1 putts. If we change this back to last year, you can see I made more 2 putts last year, but I was also making more 3 putts. So a slight increase here or a slight improvement in my putting this year. And then finally, let's jump into scoring. I always think this is quite a nice way to look at your scoring. We can see I was plus 0.4 per hole, made no eagles last year, 8% birdies, that's 23 in total, 53% pars, 152, and double bogeys. 10% of the holes I played resulted in a double bogey, which was 30, and this is from 287 holes. If we change it to this year, we are 248 holes, so less holes, but that double bogey percentage has dropped, so we're down to 8%, 10 less. The pars slightly less, but you'll notice I've actually made some 1 eagle and some birdies there. So percentage or score per hole 0.5, slightly worse than last year, but I think the drop in double bogeys has been good. But you'll notice here 39% bogeys compared to 29% last year. So less double bogeys, now resulting in more bogeys. The job for 2024 is to turn these bogeys here, 39%, into more pars, or hopefully more birdies. But you can see you get lots of data here for your front nine and back nine, and then we can see my breakdown from my par 3s, 4s and 5s, and you'll see here par 4s averaging 0.1 strokes lost per par 4 against a 5 handicapper. So anyway, that's a flyover of the ShotScope dashboard and my performance for the year. Certainly looking at this data, I feel that the performance on par 4s needs to improve. Certainly my approach play needs to improve, and I would like to turn some of those bogeys into pars. And I think if I can improve that approach play and give myself more opportunities with a fairly solid putter, then we could be looking at gaining some strokes and hopefully reduce that handicap. But anyway, I hope you found this video to be useful and it gives you an idea of just what kind of data ShotScope products can give you access to and how you can use that data to formulate a plan for the next season. I'm looking forward to 2025, hopefully increasing my number of rounds played and improving my performance. But thanks again for watching this video. Feel free to hit that like button if you have found it enjoyable. Drop a comment if you've got any comments about the ShotScope products or content covered in this video, and I'll see you in the next one.